Hello and thank you for joining me today on The Political Conversationalist, and I'm very excited because we're ending our series on politically influential people. We're ending it on the current president, President Donald Trump, the man, the myth, the extremely orange Cheeto Puff. Donald Trump was born in Queens, New York. At age 13, he was sent to the New York Military Academy, and he did very well there, becoming a star athlete and a student leader by the time of his graduation in 1964. He then attended Fordham University and then the Wharton School of Finance, and he graduated from there with an economics degree in 1968. While in college, the Vietnam War raged, and Trump did what he could to stay out of it. Now, he wasn't quite as slippery as old Bill Clinton, but he did receive deferments for education, and then after college was given a 1Y status, which meant only in time of war or national emergency could he be drafted. And then he was reclassified 4F, and that's because 1Y no longer existed. 4F meant medically disqualified, and supposedly the reasoning was bone spurs on his heels, which have magically disappeared since then. Regardless of all that, Forbes estimates his worth at $3.1 billion, and most of his money comes from the real estate market, particularly in New York. His father was also in the real estate business and helped him get his start. He famously has said, "My father gave me a small loan of $1 million." He hosted The Apprentice and The Celebrity Apprentice, which is directly responsible for his fame and grandeur of being an American billionaire. They were both reality TV competition shows, and whoever won them would get a chance to work with the Donald Trump organization. In 2015, he decided to run for president under the Republican banner and won the nomination in 2016. And this is when he came onto the political scene kind of crazily. Most people... He was kind of always the underdog. Nobody thought he was going to win. Ted Cruz was way far out in front on the polls. Everybody was excited for Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. Lots of people put Ben Carson ahead of Donald Trump, but for some reason Donald Trump gained a footing with a lot of voters and won the nomination in 2016. And when he started running against Hillary Clinton, it was kind of the same thing. Despite many polls and surveys and projections stating otherwise, and I remember these distinctly because I worked at the election board during that general election. When I worked there, I believe it was the Wall Street Journal, don't quote me on this, their projection for the election was 91% chance of victory to Hillary Clinton, 8% chance to Donald Trump, and then the remainder was split between the various third-party candidates. So, obviously, nobody was giving him a shot, but he did win the general election and became the 45th president. Now, his tenure as president has been highly controversial, and in fact, he was very controversial during the campaign. His election was also historic because he was the first modern president to not have any history in politics and then become president. And most of the ones in antiquity who did were high-ranking generals in the U.S. military, and then they ran for president. So, having really no ties with the government through being an elected official or through the military, he's kind of a historic feat in being elected straight from the civilians. His presidency is still going, so it's very early to start talking about his legacy and his positive and negative impacts. But so far under his presidency, there is been very good job creation, low unemployment, high home ownership. He's appointed 2 people to the Supreme Court, and the most impactful thing is the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Now, the act mainly kept most people's taxes the same. It removed some of the tax loopholes and lowered the corporate tax. Now, notable setbacks include the failure, at least up until now, of building the southern border wall with Mexico, which was something he harped on during the campaign, and the failure to replace Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. He and most of the Republicans running in 2016 said they were going to repeal and replace Obamacare, and so far they still haven't. Now, he has been called a racist and a misogynist, and I can't verify or deny those claims. But so far, at least, he has been good for the economy. And to his credit, he did gather 306 electoral votes and 61 million individual votes, very slimly losing the popular vote to Hillary Clinton. And although he rolled back Obama's pleasantries with Cuba, he has been very diplomatic. He has met with Russian and North Korean leaders. So, despite him being a morally bad person and questionably a racist or misogynist, not really sure about those, can't be proven, he has been very good for the U.S. economy, and he's been pretty good for international relations, especially when you look at the countries that are most likely to go to war with us. He's been very good with those countries. So we'll see what his legacy becomes after 2020. We might not see what his legacy becomes until after 2024. We don't know. But anyway, I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, leave a like and a comment. If you have any questions, of course, you can comment below, or you can follow the link in the description to my Facebook page and email me through there. That's the best way to get a quick and in-depth response. Thank you.